Ready or Not's ending reveals the complex rules of the celebrated horror film's deadly game of hide-and-seek. Directed by Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillett, Devil's Due, Ready or Not stars Samara Weaving as Grace, a beautiful bride marrying into the fabulously wealthy Ladomas family. Immediately after saying "I do," Grace learns from her new husband Alex, Mark O'Brien, that she must play a game at midnight as part of their eccentric tradition for anyone new joining the family. A gleefully entertaining black comedy crossed with gruesome survival horror, Ready or Not is layered with a complex set of rules and mythology that is revealed throughout Grace's ordeal with her in-laws from hell. According to the Ladomas dynasty, Grace must survive the night to gain acceptance into the family, as if she would still want to be a part of it after her nightmarish post-wedding ordeal. The sadistic ritual is based on a deeper belief system that fuels the Ladomas family's actions and offers some fun surprises leading up to Ready or Not's explosive ending. What happens in Ready or Not's ending? The Ladomas family loses the game. In Ready or Not's final act, an injured and desperate Grace attempts to flee the Ladomas mansion but is foiled when she's captured by Stevens, John Ralston, the butler. Grace is tricked by Daniel, Adam Brody, after nearly escaping, finally subdued and brought back to the mansion to complete the family's ritualistic sacrifice to the mysterious Mr. LaBelle. In a series of twists and turns, a guilt-ridden Daniel frees Grace and tries to help her escape, but is shot and killed by his own wife, Charity Elise Levesque. As Alex watches his brother die, their mother Becky A. However, Alex can't go through with stabbing Grace in the heart and he instead impales her shoulder, breaking the ritual. The shocked family realizes that even though it has become dawn, they are all still fine. Their joy doesn't last, however, as each Ladomas family member spontaneously combusts, bursting into bloody chunks all over the room as a delighted Grace, covered in blood and body parts, laughs. Alex, however, thinks he's the sole survivor until he, too, explodes after Grace demands, "I want a divorce." Grace is left as the only person who survived the bizarre and violent night. Ready or Not's game rules explained. The history of the family's ties to Mr. LaBelle dictate the rules. Ready or Not's game rules were established generations before by the Ladomas family. According to the tradition established by their great-grandfather, Victor Ladomas, anyone new marrying into the Ladomas family has to play a game. This is the only way to truly be accepted into the family and prove that they belong. At midnight, the new bride or husband is supposed to sit with the rest of the Ladomas family in a special family room, forbidden to anyone else. The newest addition then places a blank card into a special box that was given to Victor by Mr. LaBelle. The box will then determine what game the family will play, and in most cases, the box will inscribe a board game on the blank card to play. Every once in a while, however, it will choose hide-and-seek as it did with Grace. When this happens, a creepy song will suddenly play on the phonograph marking the start of the game, and the entire Ladomas mansion is placed on lockdown. Because there were no security cameras when this tradition was established, the cameras are deactivated to make the game fair. Grace then has 100 seconds to hide as the family arms themselves with the traditional weapons kept in the family room. Ladomas family backstory: is Mr. LaBelle really the devil? The wealthy family paid a big price for their success. Ready or Not strongly implies that Mr. LaBelle is the devil, and Victor Ladomas made a deal with him to become ludicrously wealthy. Not only is their ritual sacrifice satanic, but it's centered around Mr. LaBelle magically appearing in his favorite chair, which he briefly does. Grace sees him flicker into the room for a moment after the entire Ladomas family perishes. As Tony Ladomas, Henry Cherney, explains in the family history, the Ladomas Dominion, as they prefer to be called, began in the 19th century. Victor Ladomas won a game of chance against Mr. LaBelle and received a magic black box and the ability to earn his vast fortune from board games and playing cards. The rules that the Ladomas family lived by in order to maintain their dominion were also stifling. Other Ladomases, like Aunt Helene, Nikki Guadani, had to sacrifice their new spouse on their wedding night after hide-and-seek. Some of the Ladomas family didn't believe the curse was real, yet they still went through with their terrible rituals out of fear that they could lose everything they had, including their lives. The Ladomas family wrote it all off as the price they must pay in order to maintain their wealth and status, which includes 4 professional sports teams. Why Alex Ladomas betrayed Grace. Alex couldn't deny his place in the family in the end. The most untrustworthy character in Ready or Not turns out to be Alex Ladomas. Alex was the prodigal son who left the family for 2 years, but he eventually returned with Grace. Alex knew Grace was desperate to be a part of a family because she grew up in multiple foster homes. Marrying into the wealthy Ladomas Dominion was supposed to be a dream come true for her. However, Alex didn't tell her about the family tradition and what it could entail until after hide-and-seek was already underway. Even though Alex was trying to save Grace for part of the movie, he was really struggling with his true nature as a Ladomas and his loyalty to his family. Ultimately, when Alex saw that Grace had killed his mother, he snapped and turned on his new wife. Alex didn't stab Grace in the heart to complete the ritual because he might have believed that the curse was true, meaning that his family would all die, but he wouldn't. He and Grace could have been the lone members of the Ladomas family left alive. But Alex is a Ladomas through and through, dying with the rest of his clan because they failed to sacrifice Grace. Grace survived hide-and-seek and proved she didn't want to be a Ladomas after all. Ndi McDowell tries to murder Grace, but the bride fights off her mother-in-law and pummels her to death. When Alex sees Grace has killed his mom, he turns on his new wife and forces her into the ritual sacrifice.